first played Diablo when I was 6. I remember playing that game for hours on end after being captivated with dark hallways, the hellish monsters, and the valiant heroes. I always remembered the ending as well. It was just so horrific to me as a kid, and it stuck around in my mind for years. It's been 12 years since Diablo 2 hit store shelves. At the time, I was in elementary school. Now I'm in college, and Blizzard is finally releasing a sequel. Blizzard has a way of making its fans wait a long time for their games, but it is totally worth it. And Diablo 3 is no exception, sporting a great single-player mode, awesome multiplayer features, and hours of loot-dropping fun.
Mountain, ravaging this world and all hope of resistance. My minions will find the stone.
Diablo 3 takes place 20 years after the events of Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. You take on the role as one of 5 heroes who must team up to hunt down and stop the powers of hell from taking control of the earth. The story takes place over the course of 4 acts in which you travel to various areas and new dungeons. The storyline is fairly short, but with the various difficulty levels and the addictive loot dropping, you're bound to keep coming back for more. In previous Diablo games, the story was told by various characters in the world and also through tomes that you would find in dungeons. This time around, that is still the case, but there are also in-game cutscenes that will at times play out in front of your character. You will also pick up various journals that play out pieces of the backstory as well. You don't need to have played the previous games in order to understand the story in Diablo 3, but it does make it better. There are a ton of references, especially towards the original game, that don't exactly explain themselves. If you haven't played Diablo 1 or 2, you might not get as attached to the story as others. Diablo 3 is an isometric RPG in the same style as the previous games. Fans of the older games will be glad that you can finally map out all of your powers to a hotbar for quick use. Most of the classes from the previous games don't return. Instead, they've been replaced by new classes. Each class has its own distinct playstyle, which gives you more incentive to play the game over again as a different class. Like always, each class can have different loadouts to accommodate different playstyles. Unfortunately, picking stats like the previous games in a custom manner isn't allowed this time. All the points are allotted automatically. Also, each power unlocked and the skill points are automatically placed. Classes won't be as customizable as previous games, which might piss some of the hardcore fans off. Casual players will probably enjoy this system more though, as it means they don't have to think about their character in the future too much, and they don't run the risk of ruining him at endgame. In Diablo 2, the only form of crafting was with an item called the Herodrum Cube, and the only things you could really make were socketed items. This time around, there are a few types of crafting which can be used to create a multitude of items including gems, armor, and weapons. The various crafting styles can be used in towns and trainers, and honestly, it's much better than the Herodrum Cube ever was. The quest system also works a little differently this time around. Instead of only completing 6 quests to get through an act, there are tons of side quests that can be accepted from other NPCs that ensure more loot and more fun. The game can be played by yourself or with 3 other players. You can choose which specific parts of the game you want to play and go from there. Enemies scale in difficulty depending on how many people are in your party, which means that the game still remains challenging even in a group. Loot also drops more often in a group as well to compensate everyone for the loot they may lose out on. If you want to play story, however, you might want to run through it by yourself for the first time in order to listen to all the dialogue. Players online have the tendency to skip over most of the journals and conversations just to get back to the killing. In the end, this might ruin the narrative for you if you've been waiting a really long time to get through it. The auction house allows players to buy and sell various rare items that they procure through their adventures. You will even be able to use and earn real money through your PayPal account. This adds a cool new dynamic to the game that will keep hardcore players around for quite some time, and who knows, they might even make a little extra cash on the side.
cannot hide from me, no matter what form you choose to wear.
The music in Diablo 3 blends a bit of the classical score that we all know and love with some modern updates. Needless to say, Blizzard did a fine job of updating the music to suit today's audience. They also did a great job changing the music as you enter in and out of battle, making everything seem much more epic. In the previous Diablo games, the music just kind of looped at the same pace regardless of your combat situation. This time around, however, everything feels much more organic.
Silence! You will now answer for your transgressions.
If you've waited 12 years for this game like I have, you will not be disappointed. Diablo 3 packs a punch in terms of content and replayability. Diablo fans will love the story much more than those who haven't played the previous games, but it doesn't mean they still won't enjoy it. With online play and all of the features included in the game, you won't find yourself getting bored anytime soon. If you waited 12 years for this game, then you will feel satisfied. Diablo 3 lives up to expectations. For the full written review, head on over to VGutopia.com.